Okay, so it's 5:44 on the 23rd. So it's now it's Monday. And I guess how hell is breaking loose in Mexico. And also don't forget, still I guess apparently going on in Iran. So there's you know what the deal is too about that, the energy is that in certain places the terrorists had taken over. They were running the place from the shadows. And so this is um, the it's like that energy is being pushed back so the other energy can come forward. And but it's weird because so many people don't see it. They don't look at things from the other direction, the other way. And you got to remember, we're in the upside down. So things appear one way, but it's the reflection, it's the opposing, it's the opposite. And so I just seen a video and this girl was talking about, and it's so weird how convoluted some perspectives can uh, manifest. So they can just become so it's like it's just convoluted. It's compounded with a bunch of um, yeah. That it's like a um, okay. I know I gotta skip over some of these words I'm hearing. Okay, so anyways, but so as I was girl this morning, and she was I guess she's Mexican. And so she's taking it because she said the homeland. So now she's taking it as our government, the U.S., has gone and infiltrated or gone and injected themselves into the situation over there to block these people from being able to go home. It's like they've been telling people go home for a long time. So it's I don't think they're trying to block people from going home. They're sending people home. They have been for a long time. But Donald had said the whole time, like, what he was here to do, drain the swamp. And it's like, it's like so many people don't understand what it is. What is the swamp? Like, it's being shown to you daily. And the terrorists, they aren't like they're not their own organization. Organized crime is organized. They created it in order to sustain control over the masses. And so they use, it's just the same as when they wanted to keep people enslaved in fields working for them, and they would have the guy on horseback that would go around and whip them. So it's the same kind of concept. Like you have these people in your communities that will push you down, whip, it's all about control. And then it comes through them. They are the puppets, though. There's the shadow people who are in control of the puppets. The puppets are just like, a lot of it is like kind of immoral, angry, bitter kind of people. And so then they take control over them and give them things like money and stuff like that, power, and send them out to do their dirty work. So that has to be brought to the surface. Those people have to be taken down. And it's also wild too, is like when this happened a couple months ago in Venezuela, then the people were out in the streets so excited when they took that guy. This one they didn't take. They just erased. And so there's a huge reaction that is apparently happening. And I think, really it shows you how powerful these people were, and they were really running the show. So, I mean, in the whole sense of dark to light and getting rid of the control and the evil, then that is, I mean, you can see that that's what's happening. But when people think that Donald is the bad guy, then they think, well, he's doing this so he can control this place. He's doing it so he can control us not being able to leave and all sorts of stuff. That's what I was saying. Like, it just becomes like this convoluted perspective. And it's like, we got to get back to the basics. And so and another thing that's interesting, I saw astrologer saying that this is, that they said that this was going to be happening, that something was going to happen during this time because of Mexico's chart or something. And, but it's going to continue for a couple years. So some of these places, this is going to be going for a while. And she said in ours, in America, that all these little things happening are just leading to something really big that's going to happen in June or July. And so around June and July, we're going to have stuff go really crazy, just like it is going in the astrology, just like it's going in some of these other places. So when they're sitting there thinking, like, he's trying to come here and cause all these problems, it's like, you know, he's trying to get rid of the people who are really in control, that are more evil. And it's not just him. That's the thing. There's more people involved in this than just him. And it's going, like, there's stuff going all over the place. Like, there's all sorts of stuff going in the UK. There's all sorts of stuff going everywhere. And, yeah, there was a big avalanche that just happened in Italy. There was an avalanche that happened, I think, at Lake Tahoe. A bunch of skiers were killed. There keeps being lots of stuff happening. So it's lots of things happening that are, it's for the people to create change and to bring people together and stuff. But there's places where these organizations had hold on, something's hurting my throat. Oh my god, hold on. God, it seems like I hadn't had that happen in a while. God, that hurt. And it felt like, when I opened my mouth, it felt like something went down my throat and stabbed. Hold on. It could be space dust, I don't fucking know. So, I got the allergies as usual. And there's blizzards going on over on the East Coast. So they got the crazy stuff where the government was like, be prepared to not leave your homes and stuff like that. So, and who knows what all. I mean, there's so much chaos going on. But in regards to Mexico, so they're, and in the RAN, because they had, you know, the ISS, or the ISIS, and then other place had the CARTEL. But they're all they're not, maybe not linked like where they're calling each other, but the people who are in charge, the shadow people, links them. So they could be in all different areas, but the next tier up are in communication, and they use these people. And so it's kind of like a group coming in and causing problems so that you can't control the cities anymore. But it's like you can't control the stuff going on through crime, and man, I feel weird. I feel so weird. Everything feels weird to me. So, and I feel spacey. Like I'm having a hard time keeping my thoughts straight. Or communication not being interrupted or something. So, anyways, the bad guys are kind of being weeded out. They're kind of being pushed to the surface, so they're easier to go in and round up. And it's also showing that the people who are under the label or under the governing force is also subjects to these people, because they have got no control. But that's what I'm talking about, is like they were based so much on corruption. Like cops were being paid off by CARTLs and stuff. So, I mean, all the people were. The CARTL thought that they were the ones in charge and thought that they were the ones that were in control, but they were still being used as puppets by the shadow people, the people, at the top. And so because they use them for like manufacturing DRUGs, just creating hostile environments in communities and stuff. So it's not like it, on daily or something that the shadows were calling and saying, hey, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. They have other ways of broadcasting, of bringing it to the surface. Oh, because then they can kind of go in and they can kind of create, like they could do something that has a reaction, so cause and effect. So they can go in and cause something, and these people who think that they're in charge, they're really just a product of the cause and effect, because they are being ruled by the people who hold the strings, but they don't recognize that because of their own egos. So a lot of these places do think they're like independently organized, like that they have done all this, but really they've been allowed to do this. And so these places where there's been so much, where they've had such strong influence, and where like the governing forces have stood aside, because it it isn't just like the ISIS over in the Iran. It is they're called something, and they're the religious thing where you have to cover your hair, you have to cover your face, all that stuff. And so they're called something. They're not called the ISIS. They're called something else. I can't think of what they're called. But so they allow them to come in, and I mean, could you imagine, like the church comes in and then it starts ruling the town, and then the mayor sits back and just allows it to go on, and the extremists become more and more in control, and that the people just keep letting it happen, and it all just is like a submission to, it's like taking a knee to evil. And it's been going on for a long time, and this is the shakeup, and it's really going to bring people into freedom, but a lot of people don't recognize that right now, and they think like that this is more of just Donald causing problems and trying to control the immigrants or something. It's like, no, this is way bigger. Even once he had done the one over in the Venezuela, then he even said, next we're going over there, we're going to get you guys too, because they are going and taking these guys. And they had gotten at El Diablo or La Diabla, whatever, months ago, way before the other guy. So, and she's supposed to be one of the top worst CARTL leaders that there is. He's the guy who they just yesterday, then he is supposed to be like the top of the other ones, and who knows how many, because they all have, the wars of power in between these different people, like the Godfather and stuff. And so they, so I don't know which all ones, work together and which ones are in competition for power. But the El Diablo, she was, that's why she was called the devil, is because she was evil, man. So what seems to me, but there could have been other ones before, but that's the first one I heard about. Then the guy over Venezuela, and now this guy. And then who knows, what all's going on in some of these other countries, which somebody found something that I thought was really interesting. Because there's so much talk about America being really the homeland, the ancient lands and stuff like that. And, but they're always telling us it's over in the Middle East and stuff. Well, somebody was looking up about stuff over, like, in the Middle East, and they were saying that some of these places just became places in the 20s. So, I don't know, man. Who knows? Like, this place is so much different. Because some of these communities seem like super old. Like over in Asia, some of those places are old. So that would, to me, that is the oldest. But everything, though, would be the oldest of being more inhabited and more of a, what would that be, like a controlled community? So they have been more organized as a community. And so, because a lot of places were like tribes, and a lot of places were colonizers from other spaces, other places, not from Earth. And so they came and then they set up and organized their own communities in certain places that seemed, because that is more of like, okay, so when you think of a place like Saudi Arabia, and all those people look so similar, but then you go and you put them up next to like people from India or something, and they look different from each other, or people from Turkey, and they look different from them people in Saudi Arabia, or people from Egypt look different from the people, like, it's not just like all Middle Eastern people look alike, and definitely not Asian, because Asia also doesn't just include the Orient. And so, but when you look at more Oriental people, they all appear to be more from a same kind of tribe. So that but even if you were to go over there, the people all, like somebody, like America may not be able to tell like the difference between a Japanese person, a Korean person, a Filipino, and, well, the Filipinos is easier. But, I mean, there's people from different places, and you can't tell, like, unless you are over there and you know the different things between, like, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, and stuff like that. Then, and Thailand's more close to the Philippines. So, there's just these, like, areas where the colonizers came in and set up established communities, and then and it was kind of like they just lived there. They just set up their communities and just lived there, but it was like sporadic. It was all these different scattered kind of tribes that were all over the place. And so so at what point did they organize? But like, when you go back to some of these places, some of these things are so old, like in Egypt and stuff. like with the pyramids and the Sphinx, and then there's old stuff. Like if you look at the what is that called? The Great Wonders, the 12 Great Wonders. Some of those buildings, like, there's no freaking way. Those are old as shit. And so it's like, is that when like at some certain point did they decide that they were going to go take over all these different lands with all these different tribes, and then they battled them and took the land from them to take, but it wasn't just to take the land. The land is about control. So it's about controlling the people and then taking their resources from them, because then you have control over the people. So if it hasn't been a certain hierarchy of more, okay, because if you think about colonization from different planets, different spaces, the lands outside of the ice wall, and they're coming in. When they come in, a lot of them are not flying in. They were coming in on boats. And that's why when some beings started flying in, they were like, what is this thing? What are you guys? Gods? How are you flying around up there? Because they were coming in on boats. And so you think about like the same thing that what happened here with explorers and stuff. So go out and look for more lands. What's out there? And so these beings, they all had their own lands, their own islands, because that's what it more is like, islands everywhere. And so they are on their own island, and then they decide to take off and go look for new places. And so they're going through different waters, and there's probably like portal kind of things too. So then they go through the waters and they end up inside the ice ring. But, you know, when some of these were coming over, who knows if there was even an ice ring there. You know, if the ice ring didn't become a containment because of the energy. So, you know, when Earth was created, when the lands that first appeared, say, they didn't hold hostility. They were birthed into having experiences. And then we set the tone. So the tone gets set. And the tone that was like set is kind of like taking a beautiful woman and two guys fighting over her. And so the earth, being the beautiful woman, has been the battle zone for these two opposing forces. In one force, they may want the best for her, but the other force wants to control. And so the battle has been like set the tone. That's why I'm saying, like, these people who want to have a revolution and stuff, you're just continuing the same tone. And that holds you in that space. The space doesn't change for you. You have to change the space. So you have to reset the tone. And you can't reset it for everybody. You can only reset it for yourself. But everything ripples out through energy. So you changing can still affect others in changing. But so if the people came into the different lands, this is long time ago. And so that's like why these people look this certain way, because then they grew there. It became their place. But at some point, that the people from the ships, the more advanced people, decided to take over. They had to go in and take over. Well, they couldn't just do all this stuff. So they had to have it burn from the inside. They had to find the corrupt people in the inside to infiltrate into communities. And so they used the toxic energy that the people would hold in order to create the chaos for them to gain control. So then at some point, if that's not when they started becoming a community, like, well, this place is now, we call it this. But before, they weren't called these places. They were called other places. So what, and they may not have even had, big name. I don't know. Is when they started making maps and stuff, and they start going. Some of even the older maps, like Tartaria is not on any maps anymore. But see, then some of the lands, they've gone under the water already. They've already kind of been receded because that period of time ended for that reality. So in this reality, it's like kind of complex because it's this full circle. Because all these different beings that have come here, and then they started being birthed here, and then they grew in their communities and became a part of the people of Earth, even though that is not their birthplace or where their tribe originates. So, but it became their birthplace, their homelands, because that's the only lands they knew. But when it goes way, way back, they were colonizers in a sense, because they left their land and came to this land looking for opportunity, looking for new space. And who knows, like, there's all different reasons, probably similar to what's going on here. Probably was different control, because like I said, the people who are in control, they don't just control here, they go around trying to control places all over the place. So they could have been running from these people a long time ago, came here, and then those people followed. And because that's one thing too, it seems that that's what these people do, is just trail behind us. As we're always looking for freedom, they're always trailing behind us. But there was other beings coming here too, because of the uniqueness, or the what Earth had to offer, which it's gone through other names besides Earth. And I think different tribes called it different names too. So it's not just like, there's a lot of people call it Gaia, but that's just not, it wasn't just a one term thing. As like all these different people had different names for this place. So once they come over here and they start growing their people and start inhabiting areas, then that group spreads into those areas. But that's why the people in different spaces look different from each other, because it started out as this, like a boat full of people, and then over time it grew and grew and grew. And there may have even been a certain time that, it could have been several boats. It could have been like boats came and the people picked out land and started building, and then more boats came with more of their people. It may have been like somebody from here who said, okay, well, we're going to go back and tell them we found this place. So they went back, and then they brought more people. But still, it started out as smaller numbers. And then over time, it built as they became bigger amount of people. But then throughout time, then they started losing track of where they came from. And they started thinking of this as being their home. But it's not their origin. It's not where they originate. That's why there's all these like different tribes, these different people, because they're all from different places. And so then like I said, then the bad people, they needed to infiltrate from the inside and get these groups. So then in certain places, these groups have kind of taken over the gangsters and stuff like that. So, and they've done that all over the place, because just like look at California, look at New York and Detroit and stuff, like they're always trying to use these organized gangsters to rule the cities, the towns, the people, the the people who own the stores and stuff. So they try to keep it from where people couldn't really get ahead. People couldn't move out of the control. But so how it was so, in some places, it became so, the submission, like people didn't fight back. They stopped fighting back. They just took it. And like in Venezuela, like those people became so poor. And it's crazy, because you think about like where they live and stuff and the resources. And they shouldn't have become that way, but it was a controlled demolition. So they've done this to keep the control over the people. But that's what we're watching that's falling apart. And that's what the sense of freedom, that's the and it's not us going out to create a revolution. Like if something happened, like if all of a sudden they come pulling up on me in my own area, then you would fight back, but you don't go looking for the fight. You fight back if somebody's trying to hurt you. You can fight back then to save your own life, but you don't go out and be like, well, the answer to evil is let's go be evil back to them. But when evil comes knocking at your door, you don't just let it in. And so, but that's what has happened. And out of fear, people allowed evil to infiltrate their communities because they were too scared to stand up, because they were too scared to die. But death is an illusion, but what's real is your fear. So the fear is what has held a lot of people back. And so that's allowed the evil to infiltrate and take over in such a dominant force over the different communities and different areas and different people. But that's what the part that is being exposed or shown or broken down right now, is that influence by these darker forces. 10 minutes earlier, as soon as Ruthie, she's such a troublemaker. So if I'm making sense, like it makes sense to me, like I can see it, so it makes sense to me. But do not come get on me. But anyways, so that's what's breaking down right now. And it's being like a controlled demolition at this point, because they are trying to Stella, Ruthie, stop it. Because they have to make it, the spaces safe for the people. It's just wild how these people don't see that part, but they think that they're trying to make it worse or something. It's like, no, they're trying to get rid of the people who have been infiltrating the communities to keep control. But the astrology lady said that the one in Mexico is going to take a while. It's going to be going on for a while. That this, she said this isn't the worst part, but this is up there with the worst part. But they have another thing in their astrology that's coming up that is more similar to what we had on, the 9 and then the 1-1. And so they have something like that coming. She said that right now we're in this gathering the Easter eggs kind of phase, but in June or July is when the basket comes. So something big is up ahead, which hopefully it's more about the truth about it. Who knows? Because people keep reacting on the they keep reacting opposite because they are in the upside down and they see things opposite of what it is. And there was a funny, a little cartoon thing I saw yesterday. And it was 3 little cartoon characters. One was Kamala, one was JD, and one was Donald. And so they're standing there talking. Donald's kind of standing behind JD. So JD is trying to talk to Kamala. And he's, she keeps saying, well, the files are out. And he's in them. And he keeps saying, well, what about this and this and this? And he's going through all these different things. And all she wants to focus on, yeah, but he's in them. And he's like, yeah, but what about this was exposed? This was exposed. This was exposed. And she's like, yeah, but he's in them. At some point, Donald starts speaking up. See how much they hate me? They can't even see anything except for me. It's like, yeah, we're all seeing this. Like, hate blinds you. It makes you not be able to see. And so they all think everything, I've said before, I said some of these people are just focused on Donald. Like, it's like all this bad stuff. And it's funny because then this character, the cartoon character, says about, you guys go out and protest for all this stuff and you don't even care that they're eating babies and all this stuff. And, but I had seen some person say that. And I think their video went pretty viral. So somebody turned that into a cartoon because, yeah, they get all upset about all these different things happening when everything is the opposite of what they think. But on this, they don't even, well, I mean, no shame on that. I mean, once we had all found out about this stuff, I mean, we were all like falling apart and we couldn't sleep. How do you stop this? How do they keep doing this? And then the terror of constantly more people disappearing and stuff, and is really horrifying. And so they're going through that. But yeah, I mean, they want to run out and try and go up against these ICE, which right now, a big thing being exposed over in where the SOM, those people that were being used. Because it's not just these people that came up with that. It's not like they just came over here to America and then were like, hey, how can we how can we get all this tax money? No, it was all set up. It's part of this laundry problem. And so it's being exposed right now that they had set up fake medical places to get the circulation of the money. So there's more and more keeps being exposed. But that's the whole thing of how these people, everybody gets used. And so when certain people come over, sometimes she just walks like so, like every step is so much effort. And man, I don't know what the deal is with Max. And I had called to see about the scoping thing, and so I should be able to talk to him today. But I was thinking, I don't think that they could get a scope down his throat. I don't think that they could get something in there. I think it's too tight in there. And he's not eating all of his food. He drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks. I cannot believe how much he drinks. And his waist is pretty skinny. But I know a lot of dogs have a really skinny waist. My dogs all have kind of a chunky one because they all eat a lot. But his is kind of skinny, but he doesn't look like his bones aren't showing stuff. And I was trying to feel his stomach yesterday to feel, does it feel bloated? Or is it just because it looks like it sticks out because he's so skinny? But I'm going to probably have to take him back in and see what's up. Because, I don't know. It's like, this sucks, man. I just did not see it coming, that's for sure. I thought, that they were all young enough they'd be healthy. I thought I just had one that had issues, and I just focused on trying to take care of hers. But now, it's like it's facing that whole thing again. Like, oh man, they're going to say, you have to put him down. He's going to start suffocating. Or I guess you can take the tonsils out, but that can be really bad. And then this is on that show that I just watched where somebody went in and got their tonsils taken out, and they had been home for a couple days and then started hemorrhaging, and it's critical. It's like super bad. Well, you just cut a big chunk out on both sides, and then and then how do you get a dog to be like, no, you can't eat that, you can't do this, you can't do it. It's like, it almost seems cruel to do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Everything is by perspective, because some people will look at it, well, it's cruel not to. Yeah, but is that going to improve his life? Is it going to make it harder? I don't know, man. It's like, And the thing is if it's meant to take him out, then the surgery would take him out. And then I would feel like, oh, well, I should have never had him get the surgery. Because that's the thing what happened with Lucy. Man, I did that. Just, man, it still gets me. It's like, man, why did I take her in to get that stupid ass surgery? Because that's what killed her. And so it's like, man, it's tough. It's tough to start thinking about that. And that's the thing is like, once you've gone through that experience, then it's hard to be like, oh yeah, that's the answer. Just have them do that. And it's like, no, it's not always the answer. And besides, also on my daughter's dog, when they got diagnosed with Big C, and then they said it's in his spleen, then they took out the wrong thing, or they took out the one thing that then they saw it was on another thing, and then it created a space in there that ended up creating bloat. So, and then they were also put him through all the CHEMO and made him sick until he got the blood. It's like, man, I don't know about this whole thing. Gosh dang, it just keeps hitting into my thing. They just push and push and push more on me and more on me and more on me. And they always all have to be touching me. They all have to be surrounding me. They all have to be so close to me all the time. It's so overwhelming. It's overwhelming to be so loved. So, anyways, but the whole thing with all this stuff taken down isn't because, Donald's trying to take over the world. He's trying to create freedom for the people because of the infiltration of all of the evil. And the evil has been allowed to really take over a lot of places where there's been a big amount of confusion. I mean, because like the leaders aren't standing up over there to them. Because how are they going to? Because they're a part of it. So, anyways, it's gonna, these revolutions will be happening, but that isn't our answer for us to go out and start like one. Our answer is still for us to, well, whatever comes to you, that's when something comes to you, that's for you to deal with. So that's a different level. But to think of like you're going to go out and initiate some battle with these people, then to me that's not the right direction. If we were going to protest, to me it would be more like us all coming together and going, just like the mass exoduses that happen like in the Bible and stuff. It's just like us coming together and pulling free from their control under their dominance in their cities and stuff. And yeah, they're going to follow. I mean, that's what they've done. And they even at this point, like they have DRONEs that follow us around. They've got cameras set up everywhere watching us because of all the things that we allowed to have happen. And they always get us to do things out of fear. So we think, oh, well, that's a good thing, because then if somebody kidnaps me, then they've got it on camera and they can find. It's like, no, they try and use your fear against you. But it's really just so that we all accept them watching us. Watch us through they're watching us through our computers. They're watching us through our TVs. And when you used to hear people say that stuff, it used to sound kooky. You think like, okay, Miss Paranoid. But now it's like, oh my God, they're watching us through our stuff. They're watching us everywhere. Like, they're watching us in the bathroom. They're watching us do everything all the time. It's on a camera somewhere. Somebody's watching. And so when they listen to us, like my phone's listening to me right now, reporting back to whoever's listening. I don't know. But it's crazy because we've just allowed this to become our lives. But once you start awakening and you start realizing like the control and the power that they have over you, the only way to get out of it is to escape it, not to go in and try and fight to get your power back, because that's the trap. That's where they want to keep you. They want to keep you in the fight. They want to keep you angry. They want to keep you scared. Those are what they bank on. That's what they need from you. So if you want to not give them what they need, then you need to move out of your fear, out of your submission, out of your need. Because a lot of people stay trapped in the need of success. Like, I need to have this job. I need to have these things. I need to have this house. I need to have this job. I need to have this car. And so they trap themselves. And so then they're kind of stuck in their, with their concept of what they need. Because really, when it comes down to it, you don't need any of that stuff. What you need is your dignity, your willpower, your self-respect, your freedom, your sovereignty. Those are the things you need. They want to keep people trapped in the concept or ideas of their 3D designed need, their success trap. And then they want to keep you an emotional slave. So they want to keep you in the sad and bitter and those sides of you, because that traps you into their realm, into their vibration. And if you don't want to be in their vibration, you have to pull yourself free. In order to pull yourself free, you have to purge out all of the vibration that contains you. And it's a difficult task because it has to do with past lives. And most people don't even realize they have past lives. And so they don't even realize that you're more than who you think you are. And so to be able to, and then you need time. And time is something that they want to take away from you, because they know that with time on your side, then that gives you more opportunity to develop in any state of development, that you're going to pull free from their control. And so they want to keep you not having time to be able to indulge into healing yourself and being able to understand yourself as a spiritual being, not as the 3D avatar that they try to keep you focused on. So it's they don't want you. That's why it's just like one distraction after another. And then you think, well, isn't Donald a part of that? Isn't he put other distractions? But I mean, what is he coming out and saying? Hey, you guys, it's time to move on. It's time to quit thinking about this. It's time to quit worrying about this. Like, worry about God. Worry about, I think he's trying to say. But he can't just be the savior. He can't just tell you how to maneuver through this. The whole thing comes from within. You got to work on your communication to understand how to maneuver through this place and how to maneuver through these things that are happening. So, and what the important part is time and knowledge. And most people don't have time to go out and try and learn about reincarnation and stuff at this point. So they have it on their advantage. They have an advantage over the people to understand what it is that they really need to be working on right now, because you have deep stuff they got to purge. But that's also another thing about this world right now, and all of the things that you had to come to work on. It is like, man, the universe is so freaking elaborate. It's so smart. It's like, it is the most, it's like, we all get it all interested, like we get so about like a genius, like, oh my God, how do they do that? How do they see that? How do they understand that? But the universe is like a genius, and it is remarkable to the point of magic. And so all the things that you had carried with you, they are triggered at this point by things that are occurring for you. But that is why when they have these things like, well, cut people out of your life. If somebody bothers you, geez, Stella, just cut them out of your life. Get rid of them. And because that works to their benefit. Because the triggers are the alignment, the magic that the universe, but it's you who, it's not just like you sitting at a table figuring out, okay, well, man, this guy made me this day, and then this day. That's the magic of this place. It's more of, it's more of, you choose your seat. It's like these templates, kind of, but you choose your seat on the ride, and then everything like falls into place. But it's kind of like, if you choose the seat, like if you have, for life after life after life, you've been working on this or that or this, like in your lesson plan. So you've come in to learn through this lesson plan of certain aspects. Oh, she's itching, pushing on my thing. I'm telling you this. I feel like everything is so intense right now. Just move that away. Oh, she'll just spread over here and just it never ends, man. So you have had these things that you've been working on from life after life after life. And so different lessons. So when you're learning a lesson or you're learning about something, you can't just learn it from one direction. You have to learn it from all directions. That's perspective. So you have to learn it from seeing it from all perspectives. That's the whole concept of why you get born, like, as the mother, as the son, as the, all different. You get born as every possibility so that you can try and see it. But there's more possibilities. There's always more possibilities. You can't, it's endless. It's like infinite. And so you're just trying to learn or absorb absorb information, absorb understanding. So you as a conscious being are trying to absorb understanding. And so, you got to remember too, everything in order to get to the highest, to get to the light, it has to do with accepting and not trying to control others, but being accepting of everybody else's journey and all people and their perspectives. And even people who, you think like, well, that's horrible. How could I not be mad at them? Like what the horrible things they've done and stuff like that. But that's their journey. That's their journey of learning that they're on. And so we're all on unique journeys. And we're all playing different characters to be influenced in our understanding. But like I said, there's like infinite possibilities to see from every perspective. So you can't possibly play them all. But it can still help you gain your momentum of strength of self or of identity, of understanding yourself. So it is the buildup of who you are. And that's why some people will go back in, because they haven't built up enough perspective on certain situations. So they'll go learn more about them because they have more to learn. But that's the challenge at this point in time. Have you learned enough about these things where you can accept others? You can understand the depth to the spiritual existence and stuff. So you have all these different lives that you've lived, and you've been focusing on certain things. Like a big one to me was boundaries and self-love. There's self-indulgence. There's all sorts of different things that people have been, going in and learning about. And, because there's different things, just in the case of love, and where people have chose duty over love. They've chose safety over love. Like, there's all different ways that things have played out. And we are the players, we're the experiencers, and we experience through these lifetimes to build up who and what we are. But so we've gone through all these, and we've been carrying this stuff. So then we come into this one that's a very significant one, because it's like the roundup, it's the end of a cycle. So we come into this one, which it's up against some of these beings that we've been dealing with for a long time in other lives. So you're coming up against some of these same players that you have gone up against in other lifetimes. And so you're coming up against them again in this one. Only you've gained momentum in your understanding, hopefully, but then they know how to keep you distracted. They know how to keep you feeling small and weak. But in this life right now, it is organized to have the transits, the people who come into your thing to trigger these certain parts of you that are linked to these other lives without you knowing anything about these other lives. So it's a depth to your own darkness, your own pain and suffering that you carry. But there's things here to help bring it to the surface. So you don't have to have awareness of your past lives. You don't have to understand, what happened in this one and why you carry this and why you hold on to this and stuff, because it's just there. And these things that are happening, the different people who come in and out of your life that are there to trigger you or to help you to flush the system, to help you to bring that stuff to the surface. So it isn't necessarily that you have to have the understanding of reincarnation and all of your different lives and what you've gone through with different people. You just have to not push away the pain as it comes up. So when somebody comes and they trigger you, instead of pushing them away, you need to try and understand, where is this pain coming from, and try and find, because most of it's like not rational. Like, you just have to go through it and you just like rationalize it, like logically. You have to just like look at things and let things go. But that's the part, where a lot of people have pushed people away that are important triggers in their life. And so it's causes more of the them to be more trapped. But each person has to untrap themselves. Like, that's the depth of you that you have to get in touch with, so that you can learn that all this stuff matters. Like, it's not happening for no reason. It all has a reason. Everything happening has a reason. And so you don't want to overlook it or push it away. You have to understand that the point of being alive, that there's reasoning, there's reasons why things happen. But you want to control your pain, so you don't want this person to come in and make you feel bad, because then, it's this person just makes me feel bad. It's like, yeah, but why do you feel bad? What is it in you that feels bad? Why does this person able to pull that bad feeling out? That's the part where you got to go in deeper and see, where does this come from? What is making me feel bad? What is inside of me that's trying to get out, that I keep pushing back down and pushing people away? Every time it comes to the surface, I push everybody away because I want to keep it trapped in there. It's like, no, you want to release it. So you want to let it come to the surface, feel the pain, try and let it go and really process. And it's going in deep into yourself. I saw somebody this morning who was talking about quantum jumping. And so, but how they were explaining it was more proper. It was more the right thing of what they were saying. Because it's what I talk about with the healing and stuff. It's just they talk about it as like quantum jumping or whatever. But like when I'm saying like about manifesting your best self and stuff, pulling yourself out of the trudges, out of the depths of hell, out of the pit of hell, like all of the toxic, where you're stuck in your patterns and you become to the point of being just frustrated and disgusted with yourself, and you just want to change your life, but you don't know how. And so once you start, which he calls it quantum jump, quantum leap. So it's like, you're here in the pit of hell, but you want to be out there. And so it's like you throw a pin in it. It's like, now you got to go towards the pin. So it's, and to me, how I was saying that, like, the manifesting your best life is like, you're in the pits of hell, but you want better, and you know you deserve better, but that takes a while. So you want better, but to me, it's like a certain point of wanting, then it's like it's like dangled in front of you, like this different life. So it's not like you have to throw a pin in it. It's not like you are the one who's going like, oh, well, I'm going to go over there, so I'm going to throw a pin over there and I'm going to head that way. It's more of your purpose is revealed to you. And so then your focus or your pin is the purpose. So you start going towards your purpose. And as you're going towards your purpose, everything will try and knock you out. You'll run across obstacles. You'll run across people's attitude, like all sorts of things. Those are your transits. Those are your opportunities of healing all of the things that you've been carrying, because you are going towards this thing that seems, unreasonable to other people. So you're going towards this where it is refining you to your better self. So you have to let go of a lot of things, how people look at you, how you look at yourself. A lot of this stuff you have to let go of as your journey continues to go towards this place of purpose, which to me is shown to you. Well, he is saying it more like quantum leaping is like, well, I want to go to my best life. This is my best life, but it depends on it, So you want to go to your best life, you throw the pin in it, you go towards it. And on the journey, it's the same thing. You're going to have people who are going to keep knocking you back. The old version of you is going to fight to stay alive. And you have to kill the old version of you off to keep moving forward. Because the old version of you are a lot of toxic characteristics that you've been carrying for a long, long time. So you are re-identifying yourself. You are purging out the past. You're letting go of who you were. Like, I'm not the same person I was. Not at all. And, but I was very broken. Don't get me wrong about that. And, so and that's why, I build up on you can go from feeling very broken to feeling very whole, but it's a journey. It doesn't just you can't just quantum jump into it. And I was glad that he had said that. Like, once you start going in a new direction, everything's going to fall apart. Your old self is going to be pulling back, and you have to break free. You have to break free of what everybody else is thinking and of your old habits, it's your programs, you're breaking old programs, you are changing your patterns. So yeah, it's a journey to get there. It's not, you just can't quantum leap into your best life. Like, when people were saying that, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, in order to get to your best life, you have to purge yourself out. How do you go? You can't be somebody different if you're the same just because you went on a different page. It's like, no, it's all about the journey to get there. And so, anyways, I was glad that he went through and he was really explaining it, because there's a lot of people who think like, well, you just quantum leap into your best life. And it's like, no, that's just you deciding I want change. That's just you deciding, hey, I've reached rock bottom. It's time for me to change. I want to go a different way. And to me, the universe shows you the direction to go, which is your purpose. It gives you the desires, and, it gives you direction. It's not like you're just lost out there, like, which way do I go? Let's just throw a pin in it. It's like, no, I feel like that you're led in which direction to go. But yeah, you can't just be, quantum leaping is, it's just how, a perspective on what it is, what you're doing in order to create change in your life, going in a new direction. So anyways, but that's what you got to keep in mind. It's all the same thing. In order to get to where you're going, if you want change and you want to be better and you want to be different, you got to do work. You got to let go of the old self. You got to move into the new self. And that's what I'm saying, is that the universe has it set up that all of the old self is all the containment for all of your past lives and stuff. So you don't have to have all the awareness, but you do have to have the awareness of your inner workings, like how you work, why you feel this way. And that's where you find the productive part of questioning yourself on everything. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? What am I trying to get from this? Why would I think this way? Why would I think that way? And that's where you need time to yourself. So you have time to really reevaluate yourself and to understand yourself, in communication, through meditation, through reflection. So it all has to do with you giving yourself the time, the value of you. in the importance of it, and the opportunity that you are in right now, of this big opportunity to ascend out of this darkness, out of this hell, which so many different beings, so many different tribes that had came here and then got themselves trapped in this place because of these overseers, these beings that were, dominant over us. And so this is our opportunity to break free from these cycles, to break free from these programs, to break free from this vibrational hold that they have over us. But that's what you keep seeing is what, it's like a backfire on all these people. Like, everyone keeps looking at things opposite. They keep not seeing what's real and what's not real. But there's going to be more clarity. So that's why I would say, like, you would hope it would be before June and July. I don't know what's going to go on in June and July, but you would think that there would be more and more clarity that would keep coming, more and more people. And the biggest thing I say is just try and look at things from the opposite. Because everybody wants to take everything as surface. It's like, no, you got to go deeper. It's not just what your automatic response. Your automatic response is your programs. And so all these people, like, Donald's trying to take over the world. Some of the stuff that they think and say, it just makes no sense in my brain. So it's hard for me to even rationalize or to even get it, because they are seeing things so opposite. Just as those of us who see the opposite of them, they don't understand us. It's like we don't understand each other. And I see something very different. I'm living in a very different reality from you. And they're living in a very different reality from those of us who see. It's all based on perspective, and how you are influenced by perspective, and how you are, how you're influenced by the control, the media, the talk, and who you listen to. And then the biggest thing is listen to more people. Don't just be rigid and stuck on one perspective. If you are stuck on one perspective, it becomes you're too close to that pole. You're too close to the window. You got to step back. You got to get more influence. And it's not like that you need to be influenced, but you need to hear more perspective so that you have some time to percolate it, to process it, so that you can start really trying to understand you. Otherwise, you're just staying stuck as a product of your environment. The closer you get to one pole, the closer you get to one perspective, that is a trap. It holds you, it binds you in. So, you don't want to just be like, they've got so many people trapped in so many different things. And another thing I was even thinking about with Mexico and stuff is like the influence of the church, like the Catholic Church. Like Catholicism is very controlling, and it really keeps, it's like, man. But then look at how they could get these people, to fear hell, to fear certain things, to keep control over them. And so there's going to be more and more that's going to break down as this breaks down with the control of religion. Because religion was a part of, to try and sustain or to curve our desire of trying to understand more. It's just like, give them this and see if that doesn't soothe their desires to understand who and what they are and why they're here. And then to create fear, of course, because you have one life and you're going to go and you're going to die. You're going to go to hell and burn forever from one bad choice. It's like, so anyways, but there's going to be more breakdown on that. But I was just thinking, man, that has been such a big control, like Mexico with Catholicism and stuff. And then in Iran, I mean, they've got control through, who is it? I think they're mostly Muslim. I'm not sure though. I don't know. But everything is about the whatever religion that they can get control over the people to dominate them. So, in some cases they use their ego to dominate keep them imprisoned by their ego, like we're better than you. And then in other ones, keep them submissive in the sense of, fear. So, yeah, it's weird because you can see it so clearly, because they do have some of these religions, it's like, because the one, like, Allah, he says, kill, 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 all of you. You're all, I don't remember what they call them, not peasants, dirt, something, but something, it's all, I don't know, but it's the whole place. It's just one big giant religious war kind of thing, because it is these, but when it comes down to it, it's the poles, it's the good and the evil, it's the two sides of yourself, and that's where we're seeing so many people being influenced by one side of themselves. That's why you want to talk to more people. Talk to people that you don't normally agree with. Try and understand their perspective. Try and understand where they're coming from, so that you can start seeing it more whole, so that you aren't just so close in. 'Cause that's the worst thing to do, is just be completely, your nose up against the glass. You want to be able to step back and see more. But that's the whole sense of creating division, Keep people thinking that other people have no value, they have no worth, they have nothing good to say. And you hear this just out there, like what people keep saying. And they just lump and generalize people and put them all in, not as individuals. Like they're just liberal, they're just conservative, they're just this, they're just that. And, we're so much more. But anyways, we got all that going on. Like there's all this stuff going on. But everything, you got to just keep remembering, everything that's going on, you can use it for your best interest, or you can feed into the trap. And that's what they want to do, is keep you in the trap. But you can use it to your best interest to really try and understand, how you feel about things. What do you think about things? And use it as it is kind of like you're sacrificing your old self. It's like you're letting go of your old self in order to move into become the new version of self. And it's all this is a long ongoing thing, because it really has a big significance over who you've been and the part you've played throughout the journey of the earth plane, the space of Gaia, or whatever. You've been through a lot of different things, a lot of different places. Even though there's some people who say, well, I'm just from another planet, I've never been here before. Well, I would say probably you've been here before at some other time. I mean, it's hard for me to think, but I don't know, that's more parts of what we'll see. But most people who are here, I think, has a lot to do with their reincarnation cycle. Because if you just, there had to be some way that you gained your wings, you gained how you moved up into the light. If you are a conscious being that has to evolve, there's not beings that just came out and they were just angelic, it's like they had to evolve to that. But there is, I guess, a tone to the light, but there's always, from the very beginning of existence, there was the two forces, and then the two forces beginning to understand themselves. So even if you're a starseed or something, you had to learn somewhere through some type of reincarnation. I mean, how do you just go and think well, I've just been this one character for 500,000 years? Because that's one thing about these beings that have been in charge here. They haven't been evolving. They've been becoming good at are they even good at their craft of control? Because all they do is repeat the same things over and over and over. It's like they just repeat, they use what worked one time and then they just keep doing it over and over and over. So have they really become smarter? Have they become better? They don't evolve. Those of us who reincarnate, we evolve because we learn because we go through things and then we learn from it, and we go through things and we learn from it, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. So anyways, that's the way I see it, but well, I mean, what do I know? So anyways, we'll see what today brings us. Now we're on Monday, so, and it's some more things with astrology and stuff, more things with Jupiter and Pluto. I don't even know, there's so much stuff going on. So anyways, we'll see what happens today. I think I'm going to be calling the vet and trying to figure out, I don't even know, man, it sucks. So but to me, all this stuff going on, everything has to deal with you as the being, one being, you. And you having to take, and it's moving fast. Like, everything is moving fast. It's like you got to slow it down and take a minute to focus and understand yourself, to design yourself, to evolve yourself, to become more of you. Everything is moving really quick for you to be able to do it, but that's the momentum that you want to be focused on, is you and the growth of you. And that's the way out of here. That's the way to move out of this spectrum of reality, this vibrational hole, this pull of this tone, the dominance. So anyways, but we want to move out of that and move into a space of calm. So in order to do that, though, you do have to take the journey. You do have to learn how to love yourself. You got to learn how to love everybody. I mean, that's just, in a perfect world, that's the world that we come from. It's all about the love. It's about love and acceptance. And that's where the battle lies, is when you're trying to control and dominate. And so, I feel so controlled and dominated by them. So anyways, so focus on yourself. Focus on learning how to love yourself. Focus on learning how to love everybody else. And focus on how to maneuver through all of this information that's coming into you, and being able to figure out, how to use it, and how close to get to it, and when to pull free, because you don't want to be consumed by it. And that, that's part of their plan. Consume you, keep you here, keep you trapped. So anyways, but we'll see how this day goes, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.